So, Marc, welcome to the 1912 Exiles podcast.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about the history of Chepstow Town. How long have you been there as manager, and what are the things that all 1912 Exiles listeners should know?
So I'm actually from Newport. I coached for Newport County for 5.5 years in the development stage. This is my third season at Chepstow as a first team manager. The only real history I know about Chepstow is I'm pretty sure they're one of the oldest, if not the oldest, club in the Welsh League. I think they were founded in 1878. That's probably the biggest bit of knowledge I can give you on Chepstow. Since they amalgamated the leagues, I think 4 or 5 years ago, there used to be a first division, a second division, a third division. Now there's Cymru South, Cymru North, and then the Ardal South, which we're in. So it's that's really the top and bottom of my knowledge of Chepstow, really.
Yeah, and so like you say, Ardal South East. Last season you finished 5th in the league, is that right? And out of the 16. And how was that campaign?
It's a strange one, really, because we invested quite heavily in youths. So we were quite lucky through obviously myself when I was working in Newport, I want to say Steel, a few of the youngsters, so people like Sonny Lewis.
Yeah.
But probably, I'm going to say 5-6 first team games when Mark Flynn was there. Then we had a few other releases, which was like Mal Graham, which is a fullback. And then we just probably build like that. We thought we can get a bit of youths and try and keep them and try and make them into better football players, because I didn't want these young players to go into clubs where they're not going to play. It's probably the best description. To be fair, we started off really well, first few games, and we won. And then we hit a bit of a lull, which sides do, where we couldn't buy a win. We kept drawing or losing last minute. Played a lot of cup games. That's the problem with the Welsh Pyramid, is you have cup game after cup game after cup game, and then if it's cancelled, you've got to play the cup game the following week. And so we went on a bit of a decent cup run in the Welsh Cup. And then we just had an unbelievable finish where I think in the last 14 games, we won 12, drew 1, and then lost the very last one. So I think we won we won Team of the Month for April. I think we're the only side ever to win 7 games in a month. That's not because I just don't think anyone else has played 7 in a month. So that's a really good achievement for us, and something we're quite proud of, really.
Yeah, it was a funny old league as well last season, because True Thomas Bluebirds kind of ran away with the title. Newport City, who we followed as last season's team in focus, were a very, very strong challenger behind them. And so it was, kind of hard, I think, for a lot of the other teams behind them to kind of build up any consistency, just because you had those two kind of steamrolling over everyone else.
True Thomas did. They were a very good team last year, I got to be fair. And they play on the 3G, which makes a difference when you play on grass every week. Newport City was a strange one, really. We played them 3 times, realistically. We played them when the floodlights blew up at Spitty.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But we were 1-1. We were actually quite dominant in that game. And then they played us in our place. And it was pitch wasn't very great. It was a bit of a nasty game. And then we played them at home, and it was another one where we were 1-0 up for a long, long period of time. But then they beat us again. So, and to be fair, deservedly, they probably deserve to come up second and go up, to be fair to Newport.
So what's the ambition for next season then? 5th last season, where do you think you're going to be able to finish this year?
Well, I think on our run, we've made some great signings this year, some really strong signings, which I think we're losing Tree Thomas and Newport City. Risker's going to a bit of a turmoil behind the scenes. Our ambition is to finish in the top 2. We've built a squad, we've actually strengthened the squad quite significantly, which we're really happy with. We've just put 3 great signings over the line. And our ambition is to finish in the top 2. 1 would be great. I'd love to sit here and say of course we want to win it. But the ambition, we believe we can finish in the top 2 this year. We've improved every year, and we're stronger now than we were last year and the year before. So the kick on, hopefully, will be that.
Well, tell us about the squad then. Tell us about the signings. Tell us who are the players we should be looking out for.
So obviously I mentioned a couple of them. Obviously the youngsters, which was Sonny Lewis, who had a good end of the season last year. We've just signed a lad called Ryan Wheeler from Risker. I was a coach at Risker before I was at Chepstow in the first team. He was by far head and shoulders the best player there. Been after him for 2 years. And he's agreed to come this year, so I'm really, really happy with that. We signed a lad called Jack Pearson Brown. Used to play for Chippenham. He's moved work. He's come from Bath, and now he's moved to Cardiff. Luckily, he knows our goalkeeper, and he went over us. And he's a bit of a diamond we found in the rough. And then we've just had a lad called Adam Wakely from Westfield, which is the Atlantic League, which is in the English Pyramid. Ex-Chepstow boy. He's gone and done some really good player, really good stuff. He's in the army, and he's just agreed to sign for us as well. So we just got him over the line. So there's 3 huge signings for us, which make us much stronger than we were last year, really.
And we were wondering about that kind of recruitment challenge, because obviously not only have you got all the clubs in the Welsh Pyramid this side of the border, but then on the other side of the border, you've got the Gloucestershire League, Hellenic League, teams around Bristol. Does that make it hard to recruit players in?
So our pre-season really based around playing the English Premier teams. To be honest, like we do have a lot of interest from players over towards like Lydney Way, and because kind of our players play there and they used to play for them. And then you get sort of Cinderfoot sort of thing, and I'm quite friendly with most of the managers, and it's sort of, if they're not going to get in or they fill that position, we sort of like talk about it, and maybe, like I said, if I'm after a centre half and they've got 3 and they won't play, it's good to have that communication, really. So it is tough because Chepstow, unfortunately, is on the border, and a lot of the lads I brought in, a lot of them are from Newport, because that's who I know and when I've gone up. And we have got a few homegrown Chepstow lads, and there's a couple of Chepstow lads who obviously play for Gloucester City and Merthyr. But yeah, so that's that. It is different to recruit. I think we try to do things the right way. Probably got the best club base I would say I've ever seen for a football ground. We've invested in the change rooms. They're quite professional, as we try to do them with booths and things, which you can find on social media. So we want to try and make it as professional as we can for the players, so to attract players that want to come also.
Yeah, and what about the kind of local rivalries? Who are the kind of big rivalries for you within that league and within the area then?
So the biggest one's Caldicott, and we obviously got Indy as well, but Caldicott's the one. I think we got them our first home league game.
I was going to say, I circled that one when I was looking through the fixtures and thinking, right, which of the games we want to go to, and you've got that from the 30th.
That's always a really good game, to be honest, because a derby's a derby, whether we're the better side, they're the better side. I think form goes out the window. We were quite lucky to get a good result. Well, not lucky, we were good. We beat them once last year, drew once. We were probably a better team than last year, if I'll be truthfully honest. I'm hoping we're a better team than this year. It's always quite a big crowd, because to be fair, a lot of people from Caldicott come over to watch, and they got quite a good following. So, it's always quite a feisty game. It can be and it can't be. But yeah, that's probably a big one to watch if you're going to be a Chepstow Caldicott sort of fan thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I say, that's going to be my debut. I think certainly Jamie and I think probably Reece and Jack from the pod have all been to Lovefield Park before, but I've not. So I've put that in my diary for the 30th of July to make that first trip there, first game of the season, and big local derby. What are the other games that you're looking forward to? If we could rustle a few extra supporters along, which are the ones that you'd like? Some extra crowd members.
To be honest, we got Indy away first game.
Mm-hmm.
Always nice to play Indy, as obviously Newport North.
We know, yeah.
We don't best pitches in one of the Welsh League pyramids. Gutra is always a big game, especially for me, because my best friend, the best man at my wedding, is assistant manager there, so it's always a bit of a nice to play against them. They've always been a really strong outfit, Gutra. Don't know how strong they're going to be this year, because I know they've lost a lot of players, but it's always what I want to win. It's probably the one to say that on a personal note. They're probably the big ones. I know a few cups come down. Abergavenny have come down.
Yeah,
Abertillery, which when they went up, they weren't bad. So it's a weird league, because you got some sides which are not very nice to go away. You got Brecon Corries, which is a horrible place to go.
Yeah,
they're a big side, and they don't travel well. Probably is the only way to describe it, but they're very good. And then you got obviously your Trio Inns, which is you got to walk up the stairs. It's like the whole of China. It's a bit of a strange league, and it's a lot of derbies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the great thing about that league is, there's so many good local matches. And Goitra, funnily enough, you mentioned that. So this year they've got a women's team for the first time, and I think a lot of the women who played for Newport City last season, including some of the ones we spoke to on the pod, have all kind of moved en masse to there. So we may check in with them at some point this season. Chepstow, you haven't got a women's team, but you've got a full youth setup and everything else. So I don't know whether you want to say anything about the kind of community and youth side of the club.
Yeah, so they got a full youth setup they have got a young girls team for the youth setup. I think they're under 8s and under 9s, and they've got it all the way up to an under 18s and then a development under 19 side. It's run really well. It's run by a separate committee. They train at the ground because we have a bottom pitch where the kids train and play all their games. So they've got a home base. So I said foundation-wise, they'll have a big festival this weekend. And they raise money for the youth development. The youth do really well when it comes to that. And that's always because they've got a lot of helpers and a lot of parents who are willing to put their time and effort in, really.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Marc, thank you for your time. We will look forward to checking in a little bit through the course of the season. I'm looking forward to getting up there in a few weeks' time and seeing that first match. And good luck for the season. We'll be watching closely.
Thank you very much.